Good morning, everybody, and welcome to the Toon review for this morning's Newcastle United news. Well, it did definitely need a live show this morning after what is going on with Newcastle United. It is absolutely bizarre. Bizarre is pretty much the only word I've got for it. The news just keeps on coming in, and it's never positive at the minute. There's so many negatives going against us ahead of course, the West Ham game and ahead of the Carabao Cup final. I genuinely believe this goddamn club is cursed. It was, of course, announced late last night that Sven Botman is now out for a lengthy period of time on the sidelines. He requires surgery on the other knee now and won't be available for the foreseeable future. So that rules him out also of the cup final after, of course, Lewis Hall was announced as missing for the rest of the season. And, of course, Anthony Gordon with his 3-match suspension. Now, listen, I am a little bit peeved, I have to say, with Newcastle United, to be honest, because are they actually telling us the real truth of what's going on with our players? I know some people might turn on and say, well, that's up to the club to tell us. We don't have a right to know, etc. But when we've got a manager who sits in his press conferences and says that Sven Botman, along with Joe Linton at the time, were very close to returning and a possibility that they could play in certain fixtures. Now, Joe Linton obviously came back, but there was no sign of Sven Botman. There was no sign of him in the squad, nothing. And you're asking yourselves, right, what is going on here? What is actually going on? Because why is Eddie telling us that he's fit and, well, he's almost ready to play, and then a few days later, he's seen a specialist and requires surgery? Now, don't tell me that there wasn't a possibility that Sven Botman was due to see a specialist last week when Eddie told us that he was due to come back. And it's a little bit of a pisser, to be honest, because we as fans, I mean, look, I don't want to know everything that goes on behind the scenes at Newcastle United. That's their business, and what they tell us is their business. But at the same time, what the hell is going on behind the scenes? Who is advising Eddie Howe to tell us that Sven Botman is close to a comeback, and then he's out again needing surgery? Don't tell me they've just discovered that he needed surgery in the last couple of days. Otherwise, what the hell are the medical staff doing? And we're going down that road again that we were last season. I don't understand it, guys, and I'm quite annoyed with it because, why are we ever, are we just led down the garden path with these reports of players? How many times has Eddie sat in those press conferences? Oh, yeah, it's not expected to be serious. It's just a little knock. It's a minor issue, nothing serious. And then we don't see the player for months on end. Sometimes not for the rest of the season. Nobody knew about Lewis Hall. Nobody even thought he was injured. It was a little knock that he took, and that's developed into a season-ending injury. Sven Botman, we were told last week, there's a chance he might make the team this weekend. Yet the weekend finishes and suddenly he needs a frigging operation. I mean, I'm not overreacting to this, guys. I'm speaking facts here. We are being told one thing, and the press are being told one thing by the manager in his press conferences, and then a few days later we find out that it was all bullshit, an absolute load of crap, and the player is going to be requiring an operation. Now, Sven Botman himself, I feel very sorry for, because it's just, it is horrible. It is horrible for what he's going through. He's come back for them couple of games this season, looked really good, looked really strong, and then his other knee fails him again. Now, for the player himself, I am gutted for him, genuinely gutted, because he is an elite centre-back who we really need in that team, given the performances of Fabian Schär right now. And now we are lost again. We have to now rely on Schär and Byrne, and possibly a little bit of Emil Kraft if Eddie decides to, grow some balls and drop Schär, which we all know he's not going to do that. So Fabian Schär will continue for the rest of the season because we've then let, the lad go to Juventus. And I've been reading this morning about Lloyd Kelly coming back because I don't know whether they did have an option to recall him, but there's a few reports this morning saying that Newcastle, go through their options, and one of them is calling Lloyd Kelly back. Turns out that Newcastle United won't be doing that because this is the best bit. Eddie feels that we're strong enough in the centre-back position for the rest of the season. Holy shit. Eddie feels like we're strong enough with Schär, Byrne, and Emil Kraft for the rest of the season. Now, listen, he sees more of what goes on the training field. He knows where players are at, blah, 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 blah. Right? That's fair enough. But at the same time, we as fans, we are not stupid people. We can see exactly what is going on the pitch. And I cannot believe that Eddie thinks we are strong enough at the centre-back position for the rest of the season. Given Lascelles isn't there, Botman's not there. Lloyd Kelly's now gone. I mean, this is a horrible situation for us to be in. But I think fans really need to just sort of wake up a little bit here and say, right, are we just being just kept like mushrooms, fed shite and kept in the dark? Because they'll have known about this Botman thing for a while now. They can't have just decided to let him see a specialist since the last press conference. Not on your fucking Nelly would they have done that. So unless the medical staff are just, falling over themselves again and making mistakes left, right and centre, but I can't see that. Somehow I reckon that Bunce has done a decent job since he's come in. And he certainly wouldn't let that kind of bollocks happen. But who is advising Eddie to say that in his press conferences when we know, or when they know, that Botman is nowhere near close to a return and would have to see a specialist? There is no way that they didn't know that last week. In a few days, after being out for weeks on end, they do not know that Botman is not going to see a specialist. That is a load of crap. I do not believe that. Hey, I might be wrong here. I might be wrong. But real world, I don't think it. I genuinely can't believe what we were told, and it's been like that for a while now with injuries. Fans are, like I said, fans aren't stupid, and we are the whole heart of that football club. The fans. Without the fans, the club is nothing. So why are we getting told different information? It doesn't make sense. It doesn't make sense because it's not giving tactics away. It's not, giving any other manager or a heads up that, we might do this or we might do that in games. If a player's going for an operation and he's going to be out for ages, that has nothing all to do with tactics. So just tell us that the player is not going to be available instead of giving the fans complete false hope that one of our best defenders is due back. And that was what we were hoping for the cup final. Or, Botman should be back, which will really improve us on the defensive side of things for the cup final, when they knew damn well he wouldn't be. And, we were starting to get some real progress with conversation from the club. When the takeover happened, we were getting all sorts fed to us and kept in the loop of everything. And now it's all changed again, where you're kind of questioning what we're being told here. But this isn't just what the fans have been told. This is what the media were told as well. And broadcast in a press conference. And for me, how silly do the club look right now when they're telling us that a player is very, very close to playing? Yet a couple of days later, he's seen a specialist, needs surgery, he's out. I don't understand what game the club are playing, because that seems like that's what they're doing right now, is playing a game with us. And it's shit. It really is shit. It beggars belief at times, and I'm really, really pissed off. I don't know about you guys. I just have to do this show and make you guys, just understand how I feel as a fan, and whether you guys as fans, feel the same way. Luke Owens has been a member for 2 months. Thank you, Luke. Nothing is impossible. Upsets happen all the time. It will make the victory a sweeter. Toon. Hey, look, I completely agree with you. Right, this cup final, everybody's writing it off, and there has to. Well, I'm sorry. Agent Tex says Craig Hope needs to shut his face. If you ask me, why? If the club aren't going to tell us the truth, thank God for Craig Hope, is what I say. If the club are going to sit there and bullshit us in press conferences and reporting, then thank God for Craig Hope, who comes out and tells the fans the fucking truth. Because what's the point? We're not going to know anything. If Craig Hope hadn't come out and told us, the club would have just kept saying, he was coming back. No, he wasn't coming back. It was deceitful in a way, and I'm pleased that Craig Hope's come out and said that. I really am. Jimmy Barr, who's been a member for 15 months, thank you, Jimmy. When it rains, it pours like a bloody cyclone in the Toon. Yeah, it always pours. It doesn't just rain. That's the thing with Newcastle. It's either bright sunshine and it's either pissing down. It's a tornado. Steve says, I tend not to overreact. More important things. Yes, there's more important things in life. Of course there is. But this is our football club, Steve. We all bleed black and white. We live for Newcastle United, okay? And yes, there's more important things in life. Of course there is. But I'm sorry, this is our club. And, it pisses you off. But to be honest with you, the cup final, what are we to do as fans? Of course we've got to go in there with a bit of confidence. Of course we've got to go in there with a bit of faith. Or what's the point in turning up? Are our backs against the wall and everybody's written us off? Absolutely they have. Of course they have. But it would be just like Newcastle United to turn up and put on one of those displays where you think, how on earth have we done this? How on earth have we come out and done this and win the trophy? Because hopefully that's the attitude that the players will take into the next few games. Is, we're down at the minute. There's a lot of negativity with injuries and suspensions. But let's go out and prove what we can do, what the rest of the squad can do, and try and keep picking points up in the Premier League and win a trophy. Become legends. So hopefully that is what's in the players' heads moving into these next few games. But the whole point of me doing this show this morning was to talk about whether, we actually start trusting what the club are telling us regarding our players. Because we do deserve to know as fans. And I know some people say, well, the club don't have to say X, Y, or Z. But we're the heartbeat of the football club. And when, whoever's advising Eddie, Eddie Howe might have turned around and said, do you know what I want to do? I want to tell them the truth about Sven Botman and get it out there, get it over with. Or Eddie's either been told, no, you can't do that, Eddie. Just say he's close to a return and then we'll move on. But how can they keep something like that under wraps? And what is the point of keeping something like that under wraps? Because it's just false hope. Johnny, thank you for your super chat, mate. It's complete false hope, if you ask me. And we're sitting here talking about being positive and looking forward to a cup final. That's the whole point I'm trying to get at. We're looking at the positives, thinking, yeah, Sven Botman should be back. So, yeah, that is a bit of a positive. Having an elite centre-back coming back for the final, that will give us an opportunity, even though we're missing Lewis Hall, even though we're missing Anthony Gordon. It gives us one hell of an opportunity to take this, to try and win a trophy. Ricky Thomas, thank you for your super chat. I'll never believe how again. He sits there with that stupid smirk and bullshit comments. It insults us as fans. Well, you know what, Ricky? I'm not going to throw the whole thing at Eddie Howe because I actually do believe that Eddie Howe is obviously advised on certain answers that he can give. When he's asked about what goes on above his head, he'll be just sort of, taking advice from people of what to say. And what I want to know is where is Bunce in all this? Is Bunce the one that's advising Eddie just to keep the keep it low key and don't tell anybody that there's a possibility that Botman will need surgery. Because I don't believe for 1 second of the day that this club did not know that he was going to see a specialist last week. No way. They're not thinking because if he was close to a return, yet he needed surgery, but they were going to allow him to return, aren't we going back to last season completely again and getting into all sorts of problems with our players? Of course we are. Nick Thornton says they are lying to the fans and that's unacceptable. Rachel, of course, one of our mods. Good morning. Member for 32 months on the channel as well. Thanks, Rach. Had my negative moments, but if anyone can pull it out of the bag, the lads will. Yeah. Trolls with the super chat as well. It's how he has done this since he came in, Paul. Look, many people are going to throw their anger at Eddie Howe. Of course they are, because he's the one that's got to sit there. Ange Mag, who's celebrating being a year as a member. Thank you, Ange. Really do appreciate it. It's like Groundhog Day. Yeah. I think we have to be careful where we aim it at the moment because, Bunce is the one that's in charge of the medical team. That's what we were, told when he came in. He was going to come in and overhaul the whole system, which was a complete shit show last year. And that's what it was. It was genuinely a shit show last year, the medical department, what happened. And I think, they brought Bunce in to sort it out. And to a degree, I think behind the scenes, he's probably done a very good job. But you know what it is? I'm angry at the fact that we can't get told what's happening to certain players. We were told, remember the start of the season, Callum Wilson was going to be back for the Bournemouth game. Then he was going to be back before the second international break. Then he wasn't even seen. I don't believe that the club do not know that these things are happening. And this one with Sven Botman, I can't believe that they didn't know last week. Come on. The guy's obviously, being in pain, saying he's back to full training and all of this garbage. He wasn't, and he's not. That's the bottom line. Jimmy Barr says, on a brighter note, after all these kicks in the bollocks, how bloody great will it feel if we do Liverpool over? Listen, Newcastle United seem to perform better when their backs are against the wall. And everybody will write us off. Everybody will write us off towards this cup final, which is why I think Monday is still a very big game for us because, like I say, I'd like to see us take some momentum into the final. I really want to see us take momentum into the final, get a good result at the London Stadium and bounce on and bounce to Wembley and absolutely do Liverpool. And I don't care, if it's in the scruffiest way possible, if it's in the shithousery or dark arts, whatever you want to call it. I do not care. All I care about is hopefully us lifting the trophy at the end of the match. That's all I care about. I don't care what kind of game it is. People can look back and say, worst game of football I've ever seen. I don't care. And I don't think any Newcastle fan would care if we're picking the trophy up at the end of the game. And when the backs are against the wall, that tends to be when the club really pull out all the stops. Have we seen it in the players recently? Not really. We must say that we haven't really seen fight and determination in the players. But I hope the fact that everybody is writing us off now is something that Eddie Howe will use in the dressing room. And he will say to these players, nobody expects us to get a win here. Everyone is expecting us to get walked over. Let's go and really, really do it. Listen, if we turn up in the cup final and we give Liverpool a hell of a game, but we don't get the result, you can't complain. The lads have done the best, blah, blah, blah. But if they don't turn up and just bend over for Liverpool again, that will generate anger. That, a lot of fans have travelled all that way and we've not turned up for another cup final again. They just can't bottle this. They've got to be men. Stand up for the football club here. Stand up and be counted. Ricky says, don't tell me that knee wasn't scanned within 48 hours. Well, wouldn't look, I'm no physio or anything like that, but, I did play professional ice hockey. And I know that injuries, even in hockey, you get regularly scanned to see how the injury is improving. So you ask the question, what was said at the last scan for Botman? Because if he needs surgery now, then why wasn't that picked up a few scans ago? You know, why was Sven Botman allowed to come back, train again, or, you know, train privately, obviously not with the team, but put a lot of work into that knee, which is obviously damaged? Makes no sense. It makes absolutely no sense. But it's annoying that we keep getting fed crap. And they make themselves look very, very silly, especially in the press conferences. And it's Eddie Howe who has to sit there and give all this false information. Jimmy says, I've gone through my whole life with my AFL team, Melbourne, only make one Grand Slam final and smashed by 60 points in 2000. Then in 2021, saw them live win their first 64. God, it was magic. Yeah, I mean, that's just what we want. We want that kind of, you know, celebrating a trophy. We're certainly our generation, there's not many Newcastle fans left who can remember when we last won something domestically. So, you know, this is something that, you know, we have to believe in. We have to believe that this is our moment. It's going to be hard. Susan with a super chat. Thank you, Susan Fagan. Hope you're well. Still think the team is stronger than last time. Yes, I do tend to agree with that. We are stronger. Defensively, however, is where everybody has to worry. And, you know, we're not fans. We're not fans who will just turn around and say, you know, we're not as good in certain positions if we're really, you know, we know what goes on the pitch. We can see our back four is aging. And what I laughed about was that one of the reports I read going through Sven Botman stuff this morning was that Livramento and Trippier took knocks in the game at the weekend. And I thought, well, hang on a minute. Livramento was left on and he couldn't walk at the end. So are we going back down this road of just thinking, oh, you can play through it kind of attitude, and then they break down? I mean, don't get me wrong. Both players are fit and no problem at all. They're not, well, at the minute, they're not major injuries and should play at the weekend. But look, we don't want to go down this long, dark road again of injuries. I just don't like the club not telling us what's going on. I mean, it's annoying. It's sad. It's very sad, actually, that this has to happen, because it shouldn't be happening anymore. You know, we should be told. Why just come out and say, if Sven Botman is unfortunately struggling, he's going to see a specialist, and then we'll let you know what the news is on Sven once he has seen the specialist. I would be perfectly happy with that, guys. And then they can inform us what the specialist has said, or he needs an operation. But telling us a load of bullshit doesn't work for me at all. Christopher says the club kept lying through their teeth when it came to Botman's injury. Why did Eddie say he was close when we know now he needs surgery? The lies are appalling, and it's pissing me off now. Well, I tell you what, the press conference on Friday morning is going to be very interesting. Very, very interesting, because I really do hope that one of those journalists in that room questions Eddie Howe and says, Eddie, you told us last week that Sven Botman was mighty close to a return. Now, all of a sudden, Sven needs surgery. Can you tell us how that has happened within a few days? How is that all just turned around? Tell me. Because we are owed an explanation. The journalists are owed an explanation as well. Yvonne says, sometimes I think our players are treated like horses. Keep them running until they break down, only they don't get a bolt in the head. Well said. Well said. And I have to agree with that. You know, the amount of times Bruno, for instance, he has just kept being put on the pitch, and it doesn't matter how knackered he looks, he keeps being played. And even at the weekend, you know, he came on and he still looked really leggy. It worries me sometimes. Of course it does. Ivan says, exactly, Paul, we're in such a sad and sorry state. Nobody's going to feel for us. We can only pick ourselves up and go again next season. We are done this season. I don't think we're done. I don't agree with that. I don't think we're done. I do think we have. We've still got a lot to offer this season. This season is not over yet. But what we have to see is the players who are coming in need to step up. Harvey Barnes hasn't been great, but I genuinely think that it's a massive chance for Harvey Barnes. He's got to come good. Show us why we paid 40 million quid for you, Harvey. You've scored some cracking goals for us this season. Let's see some more. Let's see you step up. You know, but the problem I've got is you look at Fabian Schär. We know Fabian Schär's bang out of form. You know, do we see Eddie Howe dropping him? Probably not. In no shape or form do I see Eddie Howe dropping him. And that's a worry for me that we're going to go with Schär and Byrne for the cup final. Does he bring Emil Kraft in to go 5 at the back? To be honest, I would like to see that. I would really like to see that, because I think if we go 5 at the back against Liverpool, hopefully we can close the door and we can manage to, you know, break like we do and score some goals and maybe, just maybe. Steve says you're hoping against hope, Paul. Listen, I know, but you've got to, haven't you? You've got to in this situation. We've been dealt a right twat again before the cup final, or various twats with the players going down injured and suspended. Susan says, how about Willock and Joe Linton on the left? It may work, Susan. Yeah, you know, we do have that option. Of course, 2 seasons ago on the road to the cup final, when we made it last time, they were superb on the left-hand side. They really played brilliantly together on the left. But Willock is bang out of form. Willock is he's just not the player he was back then. But again, you know, it's a chance for him maybe to stand up and be counted and actually come through and say, right, you know what? I've had negative comments about me this season, and whether I've still got the legs for it, I'm going to prove everybody wrong. Go out and prove everybody wrong then. Do it. Because it's all right, these players coming out on social media saying, oh, we weren't good enough here, we weren't good enough there, we need to do this and that. Go and do it. Go and do it on the field. And prove to us fans that you want to do it. Not just write it down on social media. It's what happens on the pitch that counts. Kraft should have played away at Spurs instead of Botman. Kraft was brilliant against Chelsea in the Cup. Look, Emil Kraft has never let us down this season when he's come on. Never let us down. You know, he's not a bad footballer. And the fact is, I said this the other day, he is one of the players that really has improved under Eddie Howe. Absolutely has. And that's, you know, but this is all down to the manager. This is the manager who's going to have to make these decisions. Mike says Barnes, Asula, and Kraft, Target, and Wilson all need to play out of their skins for the rest of the season to help us with all the crap that's going on with our club. Well, the good thing is, Keith Downey reported yesterday, of course, that Isak was at the media day for the cup final and, you know, getting his photo taken with the Carabao Cup final shirt. And, you know, Keith Downey said he's in good health and he looks really good. So don't believe all the rumours about players being injured until you get official confirmation, is what I'm saying. There was a few rumours going around saying, oh, I see Eddie, you know, Isak might be out. Well, hopefully not. I guess we'll know when the team sheet comes out. Hasbo says, I would like to see a 3 at the back with 2 wing backs for the cup final against Liverpool. Jimmy says Emil is solid everywhere. Susan says Joe Linton is Eddie's biggest improved player. I will not argue with that at all because he's become my favourite player. So I'm certainly not going to go against that comment. Wacky says you either get a lot more revenue in through sponsors or deliberately breach PSR. You sell Isak and Bruno, only ways you are going to be able to progress. Too many players needed sold before you need 9. Listen, obviously the financial figures came out. They certainly look a lot more positive. nowhere near the losses that they reported the year before. So the revenue is starting to come through, and we can see that. So it's good on that side of things. Of course, we haven't bought any players, which will be a big reason for that. But I do genuinely think that we have we'll have a good summer. Darren Eales has come out and said there's money to spend as well. But then again, are they telling us the truth? I'm not going to go down that avenue again. I want them to start, I guess, showing a bit more appreciation for fans, because when this sort of thing happens and you're not being told the truth about certain players, you just think, are we just being taken for granted here? And I don't think you should ever take a fan base for granted, because the backlash can be massive. It can be huge. And I can see in the comments this morning how many of you guys are pissed off with what's gone on. And that's very, very understandable, because you are a fan like I am. So therefore, you're hearing the same things from Eddie Howe, etc., that I'm hearing. And it's absolute crap. I am foreman, to be honest, regarding Botman. I'm gutted for Botman himself, absolutely gutted. But this is really going to make, I've seen so many people say, oh, he's another Jonathan Woodgate, etc. I mean, that's far too early to tell if he's another Jonathan Woodgate. Of course, let's get him through this operation. Let's get him, through all the recovery period. Get him back on the pitch, and then you can make your judgment then. But you do have to worry that he's had 2 pretty serious injuries now, and players can find it very difficult. 2 serious knee injuries that have required surgery. That's a lot to take for a young fella. But look, it might make him so much stronger. It might make him much more stronger. So let's hope that is going to be the result of what is going on with Sven, because we need him back, and we need him back fit. We don't need a half-fit player who can do kind of a job. We need a player 100% fit who can do an elite job. And when he's 100% fit, Sven Botman is an elite defender. Niall says, I don't believe anything Eddie said, as he's been proven to lie about injuries and transfers, e.g. Harvey Barnes. Yes, I'd agree with that. Said that there wasn't anything going on with Harvey Barnes, yet he was in the next room doing his welcome interview. Obviously, that might not have been Eddie's decision, though, to say that. He might have been advised to say nothing about Harvey Barnes until it's all 100%. But the thing is, if he was doing his welcome to Newcastle interview, surely it was done then. But who was advising who is the question. Who was advising who about what to say and when to say it? Because right now, I think they've looked... Hang on a minute. Ashley says, think the Botman rant may be wasted, as Keith Downey was at the training ground yesterday and said Botman was training, so may have aggravated something and could easily get specialists straight away. Ashley, please believe what you wish. Absolutely believe what you wish. I'm just giving you my point of view. There's a lot of people in the comments have agreed with me, because I cannot believe that he was allowed to train as much as this when they're, what are they looking at in scans? Because it for me, that can't have just happened yesterday. I cannot. If it did, fair enough. But I cannot have seen how this has just happened yesterday, all of a sudden. And then he goes and sees a specialist all in one day, told he's out for weeks and needs knee surgery. But listen, we don't know how long he's going to be out for yet. It might not be the season. But you kind of think that if they're not going to take a big risk on Sven Botman, is there any point rushing him back? Get this operation done. Let him have the whole summer. He's got 2 freshly repaired knees. He'll come back stronger. So you have to believe in that way as well. But I know he was training, LG. I know he was, but I don't. This thing about, I'm not having it. I'm sorry. As a former sportsman, I'm not having that he was just told yesterday it all happened in one day. No way. Absolutely no way. because they'll have kept a check on Sven Botman, and they will have known that Sven Botman was not 100% fit, i.e., 2 weeks ago, Eddie told us in a press conference that Botman was almost ready to go with Joe Linton, and they'll be knocking on the door to start the game. Right? That was 2 weeks ago. Botman wasn't even in the squad, and he wasn't in the latest squad either. So you telling me that they thought he was almost fully fit? Because he said the same about Joe Linton, and Joe Linton came back. But Botman's never been seen in the squad. So they knew he wasn't fully fit. They knew he wasn't ready to go. But look, opinions will be opinions, guys. If he was training, fair enough. Look, that doesn't mean shit to me if he was training. The fact that Eddie said 2 weeks ago he was due to back very, very soon with Joe Linton, they were pushing for a start, and then we don't see Botman in the squad at all. Does that not ring alarm bells with anybody? And now we're being told he needs surgery. Come on. Let's not be gassed here. You know, just think logically. You just do not break down, get scanned, and especially same day, and all of a sudden you need an operation. No way. Don't care how many times you see your surgery or how quickly you can see it. No, I'm sorry. I'm not having it. They knew he wasn't fit. They just knew he wasn't. But anyway, like I say, opinions will be opinions. What is the question now is, you know, we move forward for the next few games. What goes on? Who do we play? How do we play? And hopefully the players who are left in the squad will massively respond to this. Backs against the wall, in the trenches. Let's just show what this badge and this shirt means to these players. Let's go out there and do the job. Forget the injuries, forget the suspensions. Concentrate on the players available. Let's go and do this thing. LG says if he was training, they didn't think he needed surgery. They wouldn't allow him to train if he was that bad. That's crazy. LG, look, that's your opinion, pal, and you're welcome to it. I don't agree with you. I don't agree, because if he was training, and again, told 2 weeks ago that he was on the brink of coming back into the team, Joe Linton comes back, no sign of Botman, not even on the bench, not even a substitute. Come on. They knew he wasn't 100% fit. They let him play with an ACL back before he got the surgery last time. Let's just remember that as well. But anyway, that is it. Thank you very much for watching. It's been a great show. Very highly debatable one again. Difference of opinions. That is fair enough. That's what these shows are all about, guys. So if you're watching this further down the road on a rerun, please do put your opinions in the comments. Keep them adult. You know, there's been some really good discussions on here this morning. People disagreeing with me, but they put the point across really, really well. And I thank everybody for that. Even if I don't agree with them, the points have been really good on the show today. So thank you so much to everybody for taking part. We are back tonight at 7 o'clock. We're going to try and lift the mood a little bit by doing a transfer show. Alex has put together some players that we know that we're looking at. And of course, we've been told by various executives at the club that there is a bit of money to spend there. So we're going to try and look forward to the summer. Just forget what's going on at the moment for the time being. Do a transfer show and get our optimism up for the summer. We need a bit of a lift. So we're going to do a transfer show tonight. So join us for that, 7 o'clock. And let's see who Newcastle are looking at and the possibility of who's coming in and what they could do should they sign for Newcastle United. But thank you so much for watching, guys. Give it a like. Please don't forget to do that before you leave. If you're watching on a rerun, please do the same. And of course, if you're new and you like what you see, hit that subscribe button. Free to do so. And of course, don't forget to hit the notification bell, which will let you know when we upload a video or we go live. Thank you to the mods. Thank you for your super chats and memberships. Thank you to every single one of you out there. And of course, Mamaroo Records for sponsoring the channel. Based in Whitley Bay for all of your music needs. If you can't get into Whitley Bay, check them out online. That is pinned at the top of the description. But I bid you adieu. Have a wonderful Thursday, and we will see you again tonight. Take care.
Come back and check out some green.